This is the Sabbath School lesson for the third quarter, 2021.
Lesson 7 from the series Rest in Christ is titled Rest, Relationships and Healing, ready for teaching on August 14, and I'm Percy Harrold. Thursday, August 12, Finding Rest After Forgiveness. Joseph's family finally arrived in Egypt. There were no more dark secrets in the family. His brothers must have admitted to having sold Joseph when they explained to their father that the son he thought had been killed was now Prime Minister of Egypt. While it may not always be possible or wise to restore relationships, this does not mean that we cannot forgive. We may not be able to hug and weep with our offender, but we may want to voice our forgiveness either vocally or through a letter. And then it is time to let go of pain to the utmost degree we can. Perhaps some pain will always remain, but at least we can be on the path to healing. Question, read Genesis 50 verses 15 to 21. What are Joseph's brothers worried about, and why would they be worried about it? What does this fear say about them? Genesis 50 beginning at verse 15. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "Perhaps Joseph will hate us and may actually repay us for all the evil which we did to him." So they sent messengers to Joseph, saying, "Before your father died, he commanded, saying, 'Thus you shall say to Joseph, I beg you, please forgive the trespass of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive the trespass of the servants of the God of your father.' And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said, 'Behold, we are your servants.' Joseph said to them, 'Do not be afraid, for I am in the place of God. But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive. Now therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones.' And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them." Joseph's brothers had been living in Egypt for 17 years, and yet when Jacob died, they were afraid that Joseph would take his revenge. The 17 years is expressed in Genesis 47:28, and Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. They realized again how much they had hurt Joseph. Joseph reassured them of his forgiveness again, now after his father's death. This refresher was probably good for Joseph as well as his brothers. If the wound is deep, we will probably need to forgive many times. When memories of the wrong come to mind, we will need to go to God immediately in prayer and make the choice to forgive again. Question, read Genesis 50 and verse 20. How does this verse help explain, at least partially, Joseph's willingness to forgive his brother's sin against him? Genesis 50 verse 20, "But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive." Joseph firmly believed that his life was part of God's big plan to help save the then-known world from famine, and then to help his family fulfill God's promise to become a great nation. Knowing that God had overruled the evil plans of his brothers to bring about good, helped Joseph to forgive. And so to finish the day, Joseph's story has a happy ending. How do we respond when the ending to a story isn't so happy? Or could one argue, long-term that is, that with the end of sin and the end of the great controversy, when all issues are solved, it will be a happy ending? How might this hope help us deal with less than ideal endings? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. It's supported by the Sabbath School Department and Hope Channel Australia, and is rebroadcast by Christian Record Services and through podcasts at It Is Written in the United States, Hope Channel Germany, and through Apple iTunes and SoundCloud. Remember, God is always faithful.